The idea of human rights is as old as civilization itself. Long ago, people began to question the absolute power of rulers. They yearned for justice and fairness. These early longings are the seeds from which human rights grew. One of the earliest examples is the Code of Hammurabi. This code, written over 3,700 years ago, outlined laws and punishments in ancient Babylonia. It promoted justice and aimed to protect the weak from the strong. Another ancient example is the Cyrus cylinder, created by the Persian king Cyrus the Great. It declared freedom for enslaved people. It also promoted religious tolerance. These ancient examples show that the desire for human rights is not new. For centuries, the idea of human rights flickered like a candle in the wind, fragile and often overshadowed by the darkness of oppression. Then came the Enlightenment, a period of great intellectual awakening in Europe, where new ideas began to flourish and spread like wildfire. Thinkers challenged traditional authority and championed reason, science, and individual liberty, laying the groundwork for modern democracy. John Locke, a prominent Enlightenment philosopher, argued that all individuals possess inherent rights that are inalienable and universal. These rights, he believed, came from nature itself, not from any king or government. His ideas were revolutionary and transformative. Across the Atlantic, Locke's ideas found fertile ground in the American colonies, which were ripe for change. The American colonies, yearning for freedom from British rule, embraced the concept of natural rights with fervor and determination. Thomas Jefferson, deeply inspired by Locke, penned the Declaration of Independence, a document that would change the course of history. This document boldly proclaimed that all men are created equal and endowed with certain unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, setting a new standard for human rights. The fight for human rights is a long and arduous journey, filled with countless struggles and sacrifices. The 19th century witnessed significant strides in this journey, particularly with the abolition of slavery and the fight for women's suffrage, marking pivotal moments in history. Abolitionists, driven by moral conviction and a deep sense of justice, bravely challenged the institution of slavery. They recognized the inherent humanity of enslaved people and demanded their freedom, often at great personal risk. Figures like Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and Harriet Tubman emerged as powerful voices against this inhumane practice, inspiring many to join the cause. Meanwhile, women, too, were rising up to claim their rightful place in society, demanding equality and justice. For centuries, women had been denied basic rights, including the right to vote, which was a fundamental aspect of their struggle. The suffrage movement, led by courageous women like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, fought tirelessly for women's equality, paving the way for future generations. They organized, protested, and challenged societal norms, refusing to be silenced until their voices were heard. Section 4. A Century of Global Action, from World Wars to the Universal Declaration. The 20th century witnessed both the horrors of global conflict and remarkable progress in human rights. The scale of destruction and loss of life during these wars was unprecedented. The devastation of 2 world wars, particularly the atrocities of the Holocaust, shook the world to its core. Millions of lives were lost and entire communities were decimated. In the aftermath of this destruction, nations came together with a renewed determination to prevent such horrors from ever happening again. This collective resolve led to the establishment of new international norms and institutions. They formed the United Nations, a global organization dedicated to maintaining international peace and security. The UN aimed to foster cooperation among nations and promote social progress. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted by the UN in 1948, stands as a beacon of hope for humanity. It was a monumental step towards recognizing and protecting the dignity of every individual. This landmark document proclaims the inherent rights and freedoms of all human beings, regardless of race, sex, language, religion, or any other status. It has inspired countless movements and continues to guide global human rights efforts today. Section 5. The Ongoing Struggle, Modern Challenges and the Fight for a Just Future. While we have made significant progress in advancing human rights, the journey is far from over. Today, we face new and complex challenges that require our unwavering commitment to justice and equality. The rights of marginalized communities, including indigenous peoples, LGBTQ+ individuals, and people with disabilities continue to be violated in many parts of the world. We must amplify their voices, challenge discrimination, and ensure that their rights are protected. The fight for human rights requires constant vigilance and action. It is a fight that belongs to each and every one of us. Together we can build a more just and equitable world for all.